Shi Oh Yu has been on the rise recently, and after the buffs in the latest patch, it's become one of the best comps to play right now. In this video, I'll teach you how to master this comp by going over the build, what items and augments to take, how to play the early, mid, and late game, and then I'll go over some in-depth positioning examples. The build is not very flexible, as we have 7 core units for the comp. We are running Shi Oh Yu as our main carry, then we add in Jax and Nar for 5 Jades to give even more attack speed and healing to Shi Oh Yu. From there, we don't really want to go for 7 Jade, as the extra units we're adding in are not that good in the late game. Therefore, we add in Sy'fen and Pantheon for 4 Whispers. This gives us 2 additional secondary carries, as both of them can put in some work. More importantly, they provide armor shred for Shi Oh Yu, allowing him to deal even more damage. Additionally, the 2 Dragon trait makes Shi Oh Yu more tanky as well, which really helps when he is the melee carry. The unit you add in at level 8 will depend on your augments, but most often you will just add in Bard for Mystics, Jace for Shapeshifters, Yasuo for Warrior, or Soraka for Jade and then replace either Jax or Nar. I'll talk more about what you add in at level 9, as well as other ways to change your comp based on your augments later in the video. Shi Oh Yu is our main carry, so we prioritize making items for him first. He has 1 core item, and that is Titan's Resolve. This item gives AP, AD, and tank stats to him. Since he is the melee carry, he will be taking a lot of splash damage in the front line, and has no problem stacking up to 25 stacks quickly. The second item wants to be a healing item. This can be BT, Hodge, or Gunblade. But know that BT and Hodge are the best ones, as BT gives a giant defensive shield, and Hodge gives additional damage. Gunblade heals up another ally, but depending on the rest of the items on units you have, this item might not be that great. So only build Gunblade if you have too many rods on your bench that you need to kill off. The third item wants to be a damage item. This can be Edge of Night, Giant Slayer, or Hodge. Which you pick depends on the lobby you are in. Edge of Night is generally the best item. It gives a lot of attack speed as well as survivability. Giant Slayer is great to get through higher HP targets like Dragonmancer heroes, 3-star units, Bruisers, and Dragon comps. Hodge is best against comps with a lot of splash damage, so that you can heal up. And it also gives additional damage. Edge of Night is the best if you are a newer player, and if you're not used to building items based on the lobby. But note that you can't go wrong with building any of these 3 as the third item. After you have made Shi Oh Yu items, you want to make Sy'fen or Pantheon items. They both want 1 healing item, and then either damage or tank items. Here is a tier list of the best items to put on Sy'fen and Pantheon. Remember that Shi Oh Yu items are the #1 priority, and you make whichever items you can for Sy'fen and Pantheon while not disrupting your Shi Oh Yu items. If you get a spatula, there are no good options, so just ignore it if you get one, and hope that you can turn it into a Tactician's Crown. The best augments for this comp are Battle Mage, Big Friend, Celestial Blessing, Cybernetic Implants, Electro Charge, First Aid Kit, Jade Harder Emblem, Knife's Edge, Mystic Harder Emblem, Second Wind, Thrill of the Hunt, Ascension, Beast's Den, Last Stand, Portable Forge, Scoped Weapons, Sunfire Board, and Trade Sector. I mentioned a lot of augments there, and the best ones out of those are Big Friend, Celestial Blessing, First Aid Kit, Knife's Edge, Second Wind, and Beast's Den. If all that info was a lot to take in, then check out the cheat sheet for this comp. It's available for patrons and YouTube members. Here is the quirky cheat sheet from last set, so you know what to expect for the Shi Oh Yu cheat sheet that is available right now. The carousel priority for this comp is Sword, Bow, Chain, then Belt. From there, we can find some of the units for the comp in the early game like Nar and Jax. Naturally, that makes 3 Jades with Wukong the best opener for this comp. Wukong wants the same items as Shi Oh Yu, so he's a great item holder and early game carry for us. Some other openers that also work are Nidalee with either Astrals or Jades, or Yone carry with a Bruiser frontline. Once we have found our comp, we need to make items. The items for Shi Oh Yu are pretty specific, so if you slam them, you are committing yourself to a very narrow set of comps. So think twice before making anything besides tank items in the early game. From there, your early game strategy will depend a lot on how good your opener is. In some games you play for a loss streak, and in some games you play for a win streak. And if you want to learn more about how to play the early game, check out my guide where I go in depth on the subject. After the Crux round, you should have more direction towards a comp. The general requirements to play Shi Oh Yu is to have 1 component for Titans, and 1 component for a healing item. Additionally, we want to have a team where we can easily play Nar and Jax. They can be a bit hard to find at level 8, so we want to hold on to them during the mid game if possible, and we don't want them to cost us eco while sitting on the bench. During the mid game, you always want to hold Sy'fen, Shi Oh Yu, and Pantheon if you're not playing them, and you want to hold the other units as well if you don't lose eco for holding them. If you are weak in the mid game, you can either roll level 6 or 7 to stabilize. If you roll at level 6, this is done on stage 3-2, where you want to roll for a 3 Jade board where you're looking to play around Volibear carry, or a warrior carry like Olaf, Yone, or Wukong. If you want to roll level 7 instead, you can do this on either stage 3-5 or 4-1. Which you pick depends on how much HP and gold you have. I generally wouldn't recommend rolling at level 7 with this comp though, as it's pretty expensive and you won't have the gold or odds to 2-star all your dragons. Therefore, I prefer to pivot into another comp like Olaf or Volibear carry if I have to roll at level 7. If you want to force and still roll at level 7, you want to stabilize off a Shi Oh Yu 1-star with this board. If you don't hit Sy'fen or Pantheon, they can be replaced by other Whisper units. On stage 4-1, you want to be level 7, and from here you have two different options. You can either roll at level 7, or you can go for a fast 8. Since our main carry is a 4-cost dragon, rolling at level 8 is a lot better, but sometimes we're just too low on gold and HP to have the luxury of rolling at level 8. So then we just have to roll at level 7 to not fall too far behind. The games where you roll at level 7 are when you're 70 to 60 HP or lower, you're lost streaking, you cannot go level 8 on 4-2 next turn, or if a lot of other players are rolling down here as well. When rolling down at level 7 on 4-1, it is very similar to rolling down on 3-5. You want to stabilize off of this board. The goal from there is to go level 8 on 5-1 and then roll for the rest of your comp there. So try not to roll below 10 to 20 gold, as we need the money to go level 8 later in the game. If you decide to fast 8, you have some late game flexibility depending on your augments, but if you have no emblems or hearts, you want to end up with this board almost all the time. And then the 8th unit you add in is Bard for Mystics, Yasuo for Warrior, or Jace for Shapeshifter. Once you hit Soraka, you replace either Gnar or Jax with her, as she is a Jade unit, and then you add in Bard, Yasuo, or Jace to replace the Gnar or Jax. If you get +1 Jade, you always want to add in Soraka at level 8 for 7 Jade. If you get +1 Mystics, your comp won't change at all. You want to avoid +1 Bruisers or Whispers, as those traits are not great, and we don't really want to add in another Whisper or Bruiser into the comp. We would much rather just add in a higher value unit. Once you hit your board at level 8, you have two options from there. The first one is to roll for 3-star Shi Oh Yu or Sy'fen at level 8. You only do this in situations where you're uncontested and you hit a ton of Sy'fens or Shi Oh Yus on your first level 8 rolldown. This is incredibly expensive though, as you need 63 gold to buy enough of the unit to 3-star it. Additionally, you need more gold to roll and find them, while also buying other upgrades for your team. The other option is to push level 9. You want to do this when you've 2-starred all your non-legendary units at level 8, and you have at least 40 or more HP coming into stage 5. Here you will add in Bard, Yasuo, or Jace, or you can drop the unit you added in at level 8 and play Terra to make all your dragons even more tanky. General positioning with this comp looks like this. We always want to have Shi Oh Yu and Sy'fen next to the Jade statues to get buffed. It's okay for the other units to not get the buff if we need to position in a specific way against other players. We generally want to try to funnel Shi Oh Yu into the enemy backline, and we always have either Sy'fen or Pantheon close by to apply Whisper to the unit Shi Oh Yu is attacking. Sy'fen wants to be positioned to dash into the enemy backline, Jax wants to tank for Sy'fen so that he doesn't take initial aggro. Bard and Soraka want to be in the backline, but still next to the Jade statues for the extra attack speed. Now let's move on to some in-depth examples. Against the first guy, the big threat is Lee Sin. Shi Oh Yu is being funneled down to the graves in Ao Shin with Pantheon. Jax is hopefully stunning the Lee Sin before he ults. Sy'fen is positioned to dash onto the Lee Sin and bite him. Soraka and Bard are next to the Jade statues, but they are also split off from each other so they don't get double killed by Lee Sin. Against the second guy, the big threat is Zome. Sy'fen is in the middle to dash onto the Seraphine and land into the enemy backline. Pantheon is shredding the Silas resistances for Shi Oh Yu. Jax is almost in the backline to catch the Nyla so that she doesn't jump on our Bard. Soraka and Bard are yet again in the backline next to the Jade statues. Against the third guy, the big threat is Ao Shin. We are funneling Shi Oh Yu into the backline again to hopefully walk down and attack the Ao Shin. Jax is positioned to stun the entire frontline. Soraka and Bard are in the backline next to the Jade statues once again, but they are split off to not give the enemy Bard too much value from his spell. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want cheat sheets for any of my comp guides, they are available for YouTube members and patrons, and links to those are down in the description. And if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 9,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.